She was the only teacher who ever failed him, and she did it on purpose, 3 years in a row. And at 28 years old, David stood on the stage at Harvard in front of 10,000 people and told every single one of them exactly what she had done, while she sat alone in the very last row with a public ticket she had bought herself, trying not to make a sound. David was 14 when it became obvious he was on a completely different level. He was correcting textbooks in the margins, solving equations his own teachers couldn't explain, and every educator who met him pushed to accelerate him into the program, a government fast-track initiative for gifted students that the school treated like the highest honor they could give a kid. Every teacher wanted to send him. Ms. Carter was the only one who said no. She failed his perfect work, sent it back, made him redo assignments nobody else would have questioned. His parents went to the principal. The school opened a formal investigation. Ms. Carter sat in that meeting and said 4 words: "He is not ready." She nearly lost her job over it. David spent the next decade quietly furious at the one person who had looked directly at him and decided he wasn't enough. 6 months before Harvard, he found out what the program actually was. Not an honor, a casualty list, a documented 90% rate of psychological breakdown. Kids flagged as gifted and pushed into high-pressure government research before they turned 16, then discarded when they couldn't hold together anymore. David found his own name on the original list. He had been flagged the exact year Ms. Carter started failing him. She had read his sealed psychological evaluation, the one his parents never saw, and she had made a decision alone, without telling anyone, that she was not going to let that happen to him. She chose to be the villain in his story so he could stay safe enough to still have one. He said all of it from that stage. And then he said, "The only teacher who ever slowed down long enough to actually see me was the one I spent 10 years resenting, and I am only standing here because she was willing to let me hate her." In the last row, Ms. Carter sat perfectly still. She didn't stand. She didn't raise her hand. She folded her program with trembling hands and let a single tear hit the paper. Before the lights came up, she slipped out the back door and disappeared into the rain. David never found her in the crowd. Comment part 2. If you want to know what happened when he finally tracked down where she lived.